I was going on good. People changing it up a little bit. Gonna bring you into the panel here first, and then go to the little spot where we show you everywhere you can watch and listen and everything. I know it's right beside me, but nonetheless, I like to bring it full screen for you guys so you can make sure you know what's happening. But we're gonna talk about Corvette. We're gonna talk about the Ravens Titans matchup, which was definitely fun, holding Derrick Henry to 40 yards. Talk a little bit about that as well. We'll talk about somehow the Colts lost that game. Somehow, don't know how. I literally was watching that game like
Frank Reich. That's all I gotta say.
I'm on
Frank
pins and
Reich.
needles watching that game, and had nobody to cheer for, which was funny. But and then we'll talk about how the Chiefs are doing coming into this week as well. But we'll get into all that here in 1 second. Real quick before we get started with the full bang of the preview for the divisional round. As always, Baltimore Cold Show. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, give us likes over there as well. I mean, we take all the likes. Every like you got, we take it. So any like you want to send, we got an Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast Tinder profile. Be able to like that too. But nonetheless,
Don't forget to tell him about the grinder one too.
that's good. Casey runs that one. And sometimes Justin. But nonetheless.
I do.
Don't forget to tell them about the Bumble one.
But anyway, real quick, like we said before, you can, watch us and listen to us on several different platforms. Let's bring the panel back in here. DJ here, of course. Casey with me, Adam with me, Justin with me. Fun week, definitely a fun weekend. Let's just start with the.
Unfortunately, one of our teams has gone out of the playoffs, and I think it's the one up above me. I think your team is gone. I think your team's out of it. Right?
Casey's gonna be like, and that's why we want the Chiefs to lose this week.
No. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you, DJ. Your team gone.
Are they?
they gone. Oh. The Colts are still in it. They're still in it.
No, did they do the Bella Twins twin magic thing or something?
They did do that. They did do that.
They were fearless.
But speaking of, let's jump into the let's just jump into the Titans Ravens game real quick. I kind of want to hear you guys' thoughts. Of course, I've talked at kind of nausea about it, and Adam trolled me, of course, plenty of times while I was on at that point. But nonetheless, I don't want to talk too much about it because I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this game and, of course, your respective games as well, except for Justin. But I think the Ravens played well in the game. I was excited coming into it because that's all we've heard about is they can't beat the Titans. Can Lamar win a playoff game? Can't play from behind. They checked off all those boxes in this game, which is nice to see. It's nice to see the response from them, to get down. I don't. Hopefully, there's no more getting down by 10 points and having to come back. We don't want to be the Chiefs of last year, but nonetheless.
But if you guys are us,
I mean, the ending would be nice, but I don't want the process to be the same. But we'll take the 10-point deficit overcoming of it. I'll take it. You can check off all those boxes. Can't win a big game. But I found it funny though, and Adam will laugh at this. It's funny because we talked about how narratives change as soon as you check off one, as soon as Baker checks off one, Lamar checks off one, that here comes another one, and Max Kellerman was like, well, I don't know if that was a big game.
It's the classic moving the goalpost.
Right.
But that's because they need that narrative to push that hour of conversation,
right,
to fill in time. But that's my problem with a lot of these shows is it's a half hour of stating the obvious and then another half hour of like, okay, let it go.
Right.
I think the sentiment has been warranted now.
Exactly. But I was impressed by the defense, of course. That's where you put all the money into. Calais Campbell was a huge addition, literally and figuratively. to see how they rally. And I watched Wired today. I love watching. I don't know if you guys watch your respective teams Wired, but I enjoy watching the Ravens Wired because I like to see, when Lamar gets down, what are they going to say? Or like, and the thing is, like, one thing I saw from Lamar, and I've loved the maturation of him in this way, is when he threw that pick, and then they went up 10-0. He was like, "My fault. We got this." Like last year, he was frustrated. He was like, "What is going on? This is not how this is supposed to go." But this year, like, it's just been different. Like, and even I've watched a couple of live streams while I watched the game, and there's been games this year where he would just like laugh things off. Like he would throw a pick and be like, "Dang, it's all good. We'll bounce back from it." And people are like, "Why is he smiling? Why is he laughing?" And I'm like, "This is huge. This is crucial for his development, for him to be able to shake off the mistakes that he makes, because every quarterback makes mistakes. But like we saw with the Chiefs last year, can you overcome it?" Patrick Mahomes may be having a bad game in the first half, but on the sidelines he's like, "Hey, we're gonna go get this. Like we got to play better." I remember I watched America's game with the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes is on the sidelines. They're down 17 points or 21. I can't remember what it was against the I think it was the Texans game. And
we're down 24.
Yeah, 24. Even worse. Patrick Mahomes is like, "Let's go. We got this. If y'all want to be great, this is the time to do it."
We're gonna run a fake punt and we're gonna recover. Okay.
Right. All the crazy things happens for the Chiefs, but nonetheless, I was happy to see the maturation of everybody in this scenario. The defense held up the entire game. They started off a little shaky, but that push off was ridiculous. They started off a little shaky, but they bounced back and played well. They stopped Derrick Henry, which was something they could not do. The Titans had our number and all that. I love to see the maturation of it. Like I said, the offense felt like it grew up a little bit in a way of like they got down, but they didn't stop playing their game. They didn't stop doing what they do. They didn't go into some other playbook and say, "You know what, we got to be this team to come back." No, be you. You're explosive for a reason. You scored 20 points in 31 consecutive games, which is an NFL record for a reason, with this offense that is run first. There's a reason why this offense works, because nobody's built to stop you. Continue to run your offense. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. But the Titans, they played well. And one thing I do want to give them credit for, and I know this is going to be weird for me to give the Titans credit, but I'm going to give Mike Vrabel credit, because when Derrick Henry was down, he walked him all the way to the freaking bench and said, "You better get your head up and keep running." And that's what a good coach needs to do. Every coach needs to have that trait. Every coach, when Baker throws a pick, when Mahomes throws a pick, when Jonathan Taylor fumbles the football, that coach needs to be in their ear and be like, "Hey, nah, it's not over. It's not over. You're good. You're completely fine. Mistakes happen in the game. It's how you respond to them." And I love what he did. And I saw that from John Harbaugh during Wired. I've seen it in a couple of occasions throughout these playoffs where people would make mistakes and they're like, "Hey, stay up, continue to go along." When Hollywood Brown dropped 4 footballs against the Browns on Monday Night Football, Mark Ingram greeted him on the sideline after that touchdown and said, "Hey, that's how you fight through adversity." That's what we need. Even Calais Campbell, his leadership, his veteran leadership, because he's been there and he's done that. He's been through the highs, he's been through the lows. He's like, "Hey, keep going. We gonna figure this out. Keep going." I'm like, this is all I want. This is all I want, the leadership of it. But anyway, good game from the Ravens. I don't think they're at the peak yet. I really don't, in terms of like their offensive system. It's funny because Ravens fans have complained about the offense all year long. And there's a part of me that's like, we should keep Greg Roman. Because if Greg Roman would sit with any passing coordinator that has any little small pea brain, I guarantee you this offense will be almost unstoppable if they could incorporate some pass schemes with it. Because the running game, when they know you're going to run the football, is still dangerous. And that's the crazy part of it. If he could scheme any sort of passing plays consistently, it would be ridiculous what they could do. But yeah, I like I said, Greg Roman is growing on me. I'm glad that he's continued to evolve, even though I know Ravens fans and probably everybody has been really hard on Greg Roman this year, but he's continued to evolve and say, "Hey, we can still play our game from behind. We can still incorporate some passing systems within this run. The one thing and the last thing I'm going to say before I open it up to you guys, I want to see some more RPO plays from Greg Roman, because one thing I noticed that the Titans were keying in on Lamar Jackson, especially on some of those QB power plays, some of those runs right up the middle. They were keying in on that, and you got to have somebody running backside to open up and keep them honest, because everybody's paying attention to Lamar. Everybody, he's the fastest man on the field. Everybody's like, hey, we got to stop 8. If we can stop 8, we can do this. But that means you got to have other things going on so they can't just stop Lamar Jackson and the offense is done. So I want to see more of that from him. But nonetheless, did any of you guys have any thoughts, and speak whenever you want, on the Titans Ravens matchup and how that went, and then of course we'll jump into the rest of the games as well.
The one thing I'll say, the difference aside from the Derrick Henry aspect, the one thing that the Ravens did, but I think that was absolutely massive, the corners, Peters, Humphreys, those guys, they were more physical with Corey and AJ, and they and not to mention the front, and Judon was a wizard this game who does not get talked about enough in terms of D linemen, because everybody wants to talk about Watt, everybody wants to talk about Miles, everybody wants to talk about Aaron Donald, but like Judon, I don't think it gets does not get the praise that he deserves. But that was one thing that I noticed a lot when they were forcing Ryan to play the short game, the swing passes or the stuff to the flat, the curl flat or whatever. They were boom jump balls again, and they're knocking stuff away. That was huge. They eliminated the stuff over the top, and that's what. If they would have hit a couple of those chunk plays, then I think they would have slowly gotten Henry rolling a little bit. But yeah, they were selling out to stop Derrick that whole game. But even then, DJ, and I think you'll agree with this, Henry looked slow. Even the stuff to the quick pitches to the outside, he just did not have.
He looked worn out. I don't know. Yes. I don't know if it was the physicality of this game, or if it was the fact that the man just ran for over 2,000 yards and has been running his butt off this season.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. It is a double-edged sword here. They wanted to get Derrick Henry that push. I think once that started to become a thing, it was like the Undertaker streak. Once like the numbers started to kind of be formulated to everyone, like, that he really could reach 2,000 yards. And I think that became the game plan. Because what did they do the previous years? They did nothing with him the first half of the year. Weeks 9 on out, boom, and he came into the playoffs fresh. That's why he was just running over people last year. I think finally that formula, which it worked, the AFC South got him into the playoffs. I think that finally caught up to them. They need going forward, because this is the other thing too. As powerful as Derrick Henry is, as great as he is, you need the league is going to the 2-back system. Hines and Taylor with the Colts are kind of the same, whatever, though. I would say maybe Hines is a tad more elusive. Just Taylor is downfield, open up the seam, bam, he's gone. They need somebody that's a little bit of a break in the action for Henry. They use that other guy a couple times, but he's not. They were still selling out the run. I don't know that Arthur Smith was not being very creative in the play calling. I mean, early on when they got up 10-0, you're thinking, here we go again. But as we were talking about before we came on the air, the play that changed that game was that 50-yard run on 3rd and 9. particularly too, and I think it was the play previously. Again, and this is my frustration with Roman. I like the calls with the power QB stuff, but it's always up the middle. What happened to those really hard sells to handoff to JK or to Gus or whoever, and he just slips and goes the other way? Because you get all those linemen to sell the defensive lineman to go that way, and then he pops off to the weak side. Um, I don't know. I wish Greg was not so predictable when he gets to that because yeah, again, all you have to do is beat the guard in the center from either side and have somebody guard that and guard the cut. They were expecting that, but then finally, the passing game I think started to open that up a little bit. And again, didn't have to be a home run shot. He learned his lesson after that pick, which I don't know if he thought was if it was a levels concept where I don't know who was he trying to throw to. Was it Boykin?
Yeah, it was Boykin.
Yeah, I don't know if he thought he was going to come on a dime and almost throw it like a hitch route or a wheel route, whatever though, because he threw it to the hash, not to the sideline, which would have been the proper way of doing it because he's either going to get that or it's going to be incomplete. Again, get it away from the defender. But anyway, but amongst the games all weekend, this was the best competitive football game of the weekend with the storylines and how it was, again, to me, a team that mirrors each other with the exception of Tannehill not being, which Tannehill's athletic, but he's not Lamar Jackson. And they didn't, from what I saw, they didn't sprinkle any runs for Tannehill. Because but they usually save that for the goal line, so I guess I can't be too shocked by that. But like between the 20s, I would have just sprinkled that in a little bit more. They did the very first play, and it went for like 5 or 6 yards, and then they kind of went away from that. So I don't know. The only critique I have in terms of the Titans is Vrabel. You go for it on 4th down in that situation. You can't. They had the momentum, and you didn't have the ability or showed any of the ability that you were going to stop. The defense was going to stop Lamar. So I don't know, but to me the writing was on the wall, especially towards the tail end of the game. It's like Lamar's going to get his first playoff win, and not to jump ahead on the other games. That game, the Bills game, and our game. I'll say we have shown the 2018 quarterback class is very good. Very, very good. Second year for Josh Allen to be in the playoffs. Didn't play the best game last year. Gets his first win here. Lamar, this is his third year in the road now, and he finally gets over the hump. That class is being I don't think is being talked about enough. Because, especially in our case, and I think you'll agree with this too, despite all the adversity that Lamar has had to face in terms of the perception, if you were to tell me that he would start the last 6 games his rookie year, be 5-1, 6-0, flirted with the idea of almost making that comeback against the Chargers, he would be the MVP, lose in the playoffs, get back and win his first playoff game. I think Ravens fans before Flacco went out would say, sign me up. Same thing with Allen. But he's been on a slow uptick as opposed to this year where, again, boom, you get Stephon Diggs, and all of a sudden now he's a fucking accurate passer. So I don't know. This was an enjoyable game. We had our friendly ribbing. That's what you do. You could have been talking shit to me on my game, and I wouldn't even notice because I did not look at my phone until I saw. Are you breathing?
It was funny because, and I guess we'll jump into that, but it was funny because I was like, "This is crazy." Pouncey snaps it. To Taco Fall, and then Ben throws a pick. They punt it. He throws another pick. He ended up throwing what 4? Like it was like and it just kept going. It just kept going. It just kept going. Real quick before we get into that, Justin, Casey, did you have any thoughts on the Titans? I know of course Casey was more like go Titans for some weird reason, but Justin, Casey, did y'all have any thoughts on the Titans Ravens game, or shall we move to?
Yeah.
The Titans should have won. They were cheated out of it. The Ravens are cheaters. They should have lost because the Titans should have won.
Well,
No,
that's
by
all
the
right
way,
there.
I do want to throw this out here. Me and DJ had a great exchange on the offensive PI that wasn't called, and I was like, yep, hey, got away with it. now Titans, don't you don't you get caught? Blah blah blah. They showed on replay coming back from commercial, and I messaged DJ personally. I said, yeah, that was bullshit. That was offensive PI all the way.
Then they called a pick on Willie Snead.
On him just getting in his way, not even coming through the blinds, just literally stepping in front of him.
Yep. Stood there, then turned to the
I also feel like just in general, in a bunch of these games, there were calls that should have been called that weren't. There were calls that were called that shouldn't have been called. Like there was a bunch of like, what the hell is going on? And the commentators are like, oh well, the refs are just letting them play, and I'm like, well, yeah, you just let them play to an extent, but like, come on, like there was a couple plays that really could have cost teams the game that weren't called, and it's like, dude, what? This is the playoffs. This isn't preseason. This isn't early regular season. These are the playoffs.
You're not working out the kinks in terms of the ruling.
Yeah,
they put the replacement refs out there.
There's a difference between letting them play. There's a difference between letting them play and still just being blatantly wrong.
Yeah. Justin, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, the rate, they proved the haters wrong. The people say, oh, Lamar Jackson, he's going to go 0-3 in the playoffs and he can't get a win, I'm happy, for that they got, Lamar got his first win in the playoffs here. They stayed disciplined, they stick to what they knew, they ran the ball a whole bunch of times. And I'm happy they won. I'm happy about it. They stopped Derrick Henry. That was a good thing. It was a good game. I really enjoyed it, and even with the Bills and Colts game, that was a good game also. That was a good game also.
Yeah, it was. Real quick, before we get into Adam, because I know he has a lot to say. Let's do the Bills Colts game quickly. Because I don't know if Casey's gonna have a lot to say. He might just tap out. He might leave right now. But the Bills and Colts game was incredible in terms of the quality of the game. I was sitting there watching it with no fandom at all, but low key wanting the Colts to win. I shouldn't say that out loud with Casey here, but low key kind of wanting the Colts to win because for the underdog aspect of it. Even though I don't think they were much underdogs, they just were doubted all freaking year coming into the playoffs at 11-5. Like I don't really understand it, but nonetheless, this game was like, especially near the end. This game was crazy. Especially that possession right before the last one where Josh Allen fumbled the football. He pulled his best Patrick Mahomes impression and fumbled the football and got sacked for like 23 yards. Fumbled the ball and somehow the Colts didn't jump on it. I was like, how? That ball was on the ground forever and the Colts didn't jump on it. I was so surprised the Colts didn't hop on that. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I thought this game was incredible. I mean, it was a really good game. So I also don't understand how the heck did Phillip Rivers not be able to complete a pass for 10 more yards to get a field goal. Don't know. No idea. It was just weird. One thing I thought that I felt was really weird was there was a point where he was attacking the sidelines when he should have just threw it down the middle of the field where they were leaving it open, like even just a quick slant or something, get the 10 yards and go spike the football and kick the football. Send Specs out there and let him kick the football. That like that's what I was expecting, but they didn't do that either. So I was like, it was just weird. And then it was also weird they had Jacoby throw the Hail Marys all year long, and then had Phil throw the last one. Retirement party? What was that? What was that for? But I mean, nonetheless, it was a good game. I think it was one of the really good games of the weekend. But I mean, unfortunate how it ended, because I was kind of cheering for the Colts to win for the kind of underdog aspect of it. But I mean, the interesting part is I think they did show some kinks in the Bills' armor, because the Bills are a good football team, but like they're not unbeatable either. They're not one of those teams where if they could have kept Stephon Diggs in check a little bit in the second half, they probably would have won that game. The first half he had one catch for like 7 yards or something, and then the second half he just went off and went over 100. So it was like, wow. But Casey, what were your thoughts on your Colts going up against the Bills? I know that was a kind of a little heartbreaker.
Don't get me wrong, it was a great game. I loved watching the game. It was a fun game to watch. But at the same time, I feel like, in a way, we kind of beat ourselves. And not even just that, I feel like our coaching beat us. Because, listen, I'm not a head coach. I'm not a special teams coach. I'm not a special teams coordinator, anything like that. But if you have the opportunity to kick the freaking ball and get guaranteed points, why? Why wouldn't you? Why? And yeah, the fumble that for some strange reason none of us got right there. It was there. Just pick it up. It had Colts on it. They wrote Colts on it, and it was on the ground, and we could have had it, but no, that's fine. We didn't want it. But at the same time, like I was saying last week, like I'm upset, but I'm not necessarily mad, because I am happy that I'm happy for the Bills that they got their first playoff win since I think '95.
94.
Like that, okay, or yeah, '94, correct, yeah. So that, I'm happy for them. They definitely deserve it. They had a hell of a season. Um, I hope they win this week. But we'll get to that. But again, there was a mistake that shouldn't have been made. It, there's always next year, which I feel like for the Colts, it's always next year. But they always pick us to win in the beginning of the season. They do. They're like, this is the Colts year. I could see it. They're gonna make it all the way.
See,
And
Casey, the one thing I can say, that's the good part about not having the pressure of, like, this is the first year, I think, no, last year was the first year where we became like Super Bowl contenders. And like, I think it's funner to win it when you're not the contender, when you're not like the favorite for it, because when you lose and you're supposedly the favorite, it's like, what happened?
Well,
like if the Chiefs lose, if the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl this year, Justin's gonna be sick.
and I feel like I'm more upset for Philip Rivers, because I really wanted to see him finally make it and finally get what I feel like he has deserved over his career. I really I wanted this for Philip. I really did. Um, Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and I don't know that he's coming back next year.
I
I
mean, if
don't
Matt
know.
Stafford's like, "Hey, Indy looks pretty good," I mean, he might.
I mean, we'll take you. We'll take you. That man will play with a broken hand. We'll take you.
Fun fact: Matt Stafford is only 1 year older than Andrew Luck is right now. Fun fact. So, and Andrew Luck, of course, retired early, so he's still got a little time left on the clock there. Um,
Just hope Jonathan Taylor doesn't retire.
right. Adam, Justin, what were y'all's thoughts on the Bills Colts game? Looks like it's going to be Justin first.
I thought it was a good game. I think they should have won it there at the end, and also, yeah, they should have took points when they had the opportunities to take them. Like they should have took the field goals. Like I don't. If I was out there, I don't know. Maybe they were like, "Oh, maybe I can't make the field goal," but like what? You're so close. Like you could. I don't know. Maybe they go like, "Let's go for it. Let's just be greedy and go for a touchdown." Or like go for a 2-point conversion, or I just don't understand what they were doing out there. And they should have had that fumble there at the end. Like it was on the ground for so long. Like, come on. But I mean, it was a fun game. It was good. I didn't have any horse in this game, so yeah, I mean, it didn't really hurt me. But it was a fun game though.
There was only one horse shoe. Adam.
Somebody get their
Oh,
mans over here.
God, puns.
It's two. We
Um,
have one on each side of the helmet.
yeah, this is true.
Oh,
This is true.
that is true. Yeah.
This is true. Um,
And if you multiply it by all the players, I'm just saying.
so it'd be 106. 53 man
And then
team.
50,
all of
So
the
yeah.
logos on like hats and T-shirts and stuff.
Stop. And if you count all the fans in the crowd that was watching at home, the thing is, you count all the horseshoes that are on the helmet and all that stuff. It almost make one big giant Trojan horse. I want to talk about the other type of Trojan horse. But anyway, no, I felt no case. I felt really, really bad for Philip because that whole game. You think that when Allen had that big long touchdown pass to Diggs, I thought that was it when it was 28-14. But then they came right back down, which I don't understand. I can't even think of who the D coordinator is for Buffalo. They those
Leslie
next two
Frazier.
drives, they moved the ball at will. Hines and Taylor were just blah 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 blah, and they had no answer for the tight end. To which to go on what you just said, DJ, they had no answer for him. Again, all you have to do is have him just throw a little stick route to the first down marker, and again, just keep trudging. Yeah, he was obsessed with going with those sideline passes. But again, it's still just slow but trickly. But you got to force the ball a little bit. There was a couple where he had made a couple of shots to Pittman and all that jazz, but I don't know. It's just the Colts kept fighting. I do think Reich out outthought himself on going for it on that fourth and goal. Not to mention you've gotten stuffed. You just gotten stuffed twice, and then you tried to do a lateral pitch, whatever though, and he had to go a long way to come around that edge. That's not conducive. Your defense was playing great in keeping Allen either bottled up or they were flushing him way out of the pocket where he didn't have a chance to step up into those throws. And I got to give the Colts one thing because I noticed it in the game against us. Their special teams is immaculate. Their returner, they were playing. They did a great job doing the field position game, pinning them way back. That kept them that kept the game bottled up for a while. So I know I give the Colts as a special team crew, a lot of credit, but in that situation, your defense was playing good. Take the points. Take the points. That would have been what, 17-13 or whatever it was going to be, whatever. You cannot squander that, especially when you're that close. That's the type of shit you do week 17 where you need to have that win to get into the playoffs.
Or catch the ball.
In that instance, and you're on the road. Yeah, or catch the ball. But he put just a little too much ass behind that pass. So I mean, obviously he takes a little bit off it, or Pittman makes a spectacular catch. No one's saying anything. But I would have taken the points there, for sure. But I mean, yeah, again, yes, and it was, Casey, you were right. It was our first playoff win since '94, and the Bills' first win since '95. I mean, again, splitting hairs a year apart, but nonetheless. Um, but no, if there was I don't think you could have asked for a better first game of the playoffs than this. It was fun. It was competitive. Back and forth, got interesting at the end. Someone I think was using the force on that fumble because I was expecting it just to keep matriculating, and then here comes the swarm of the Colts players that just stopped. It just stopped, and just one miraculous fat ass lineman for the Bills fell on it. Because that was my thing. Like, that's the Josh Allen that I always critique, where he tries to keep a foot in the pocket to make a play. It's like, no, dude, just throw it. If it ain't there, take off or throw it away. So anyway, good season by the Colts. I do think this is the swan song for Philip.
All right, Adam. Keeping it with you, Browns, Steelers.
Go these guys first.
Okay.
I gotta.
All right.
I gotta get my Enzo ready.
Oh, this is great. I said it before. I had a path. If the Ravens were to make the Super Bowl this year, I had a path to which I desired for it to be. But there was nothing more satisfying than seeing the Browns the same old Browns absolutely what was it, nameless gray faces, absolutely put it on.
I was going to say, put the caption on the color schemes, make it just gray.
Absolutely destroy. And when I say destroy, this was worse than the Bengals game. This was worse than how they've looked all season. They took their will from them. The Steelers quit, and nobody will say it out loud, but it was 28-0, and the Steelers were gone. They were. I mean, the game was in Pittsburgh, but they were back at home. They were somewhere else. They weren't there anymore because, I mean, and they kind of made that little comeback, and I was like, come on, same old Browns. Don't really be the same old Browns here. But at the same time, like, the Steelers, they just weren't there. I mean, and I will never understand why certain people talk before the games or after the games, Claypool. Why? Juju, you have been either talking or dancing more than you've been catching this year. All year long. Explain to me, please explain to me, why the heck y'all couldn't show up then? Because that was awful. I mean, that, like, if you want to send Ben out on a sour note, well, there you go. Because, I mean, literally, Adam, he was crying. Like, it was rough. It was that rough. It's funny, though. Like, it's hilarious. Because let me tell you a team who are literally, and I think it's overkill. I think they're overhyped, and they have been since 2011. Because I'll give them the Super Bowl that they somehow sneaked out against the Arizona Cardinals. Hey, this team's a contender every year by the media. Every single year, they're a contender. They're well coached. They got a veteran quarterback. They got stud receivers. This is the most talented Steelers team we've seen in a while. Do you remember they had Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown on the same freaking team? Get the heck out of here. And Martavis Bryant doing whatever the heck he was doing.
The three B's.
I mean, come on, the Killer Bees, as they were called, they couldn't do anything really when it came to the playoffs. And you can't tell, oh, well, if Tom Brady went there, well, Tom Brady was there. Okay, Tom Brady was there. Let me tell you a team who got past Tom Brady to get to a Super Bowl. It can happen. Sorry, my bad. But anyway, look. You're contenders every year. Steelers fans, I'm tired of hearing about your 6 Super Bowls. I'm tired of hearing about it. When won this decade? When won this decade? That's what I want you to do. When won this decade? Because it's been a freaking decade since you won one. Get the heck out of my face, okay? Look. You showed up in the first round of the playoffs and you got ousted. This is the worst playoff performance I've ever seen. This was worse than Peyton getting beat 41-0. This is awful. You lost to the same old mother freaking Browns. The heck out of here, bro. Goodness, man. There is nothing more satisfying than seeing the Steelers lose. They were down by 14, and I saw Steelers fans on Facebook. All right, log it off. Okay. Bruh, you got an almost 40-year-old quarterback. 40-year-old quarterback with no running game. Explain. Terrible. No, they should not get rid of Mike Tomlin. He's a great coach. Absolutely great coach. They should not get rid of Mike Tomlin. But there are some pieces around there that got to go. They got to go. Get them out. Ben can be one of them. But then again, it's hard to say Ben because Ben was half the reason they were in the playoffs. But then at the same time, Ben's half the reason they're out of the playoffs.
Right.
Anyway, I'm done. Casey.
This was a fun game to watch. This was a fun game to watch. Oh, just watching that score go up and the Steelers score stay at 0. Oh, so good. But and I have to admit, I lost a ton of respect for 2 players, in particular on the Steelers. And I don't know if you guys are, will agree with me on this. One, this one I can kind of let slide a little bit because he's young, and you expect that from young players. Chase Claypool. This man went on live on TikTok the day after the game and was talking trash. This man was talking trash about, oh, well, they're not that good. They just whooped your ass. They're not that good. They made you look like chumps for more than half of that game, but they're not that. Shut up. Shut up, boy.
They could have put the Dolphins in there for that.
And then, excuse me. Then Ben. I'm sorry, but after a game, what does every team do? What does every quarterback do? You go and you congratulate the other team.
Sorry.
Doesn't matter,
Casey,
you win.
Casey, I'm sorry. Lamar didn't shake the hands of the Titans either.
But did he sit on the bench moping?
Oh no, he said we out of here. He said we out of here. They disrespected us. Get him out of my face.
No, but
he had to go to the bathroom.
Fuck it. Ben,
you guys have to stand on their logo.
Ben sat on the bench and moped. Bro, you are a veteran. This is not the first loss you've ever had. This isn't like, dude, come on. I get being upset that you lost, but to just sit on the bench like a child? Come on. Come on, dude. You're supposed to be a veteran. Show them how it's done. You know what I mean? Like, that just, I don't know. For me, that put a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't like that. You know, like I
I
said,
mean,
again, I understand getting upset, but come on.
Casey, this is the same team that has, if not the most toxic, at least the second most toxic fan base in the absolute universe. What do you expect any better? Do
I
you
mean,
really?
they're only second to Kansas City, so
Dallas is up there. Uh, um, but Justin, what were your thoughts on the Browns drubbing of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, I was really surprised out of the gate, like when like me and you were FaceTiming each other, and I got like once they had that fumble, I got like, oh my god, like I was going crazy. I go like, wow, this is it's nuts. And Juju, you wouldn't know what he was doing. He Corvetted all the way back home. He opted his Corvette all the way back home. Out of the playoffs. They are amazing. Like we can all agree that that is amazing to see the Steelers out of the playoffs. And at the same time, seeing the veteran, Ben Roethlisberger, Big Ben, you seeing him go out, on that way is kind of sad a little bit because, you know, you look at Brady, and then you look at Big Ben. They're both around the same age and stuff. You could tell who's like in the better shape and stuff. And I was watching Colin Hurd. I was watching him, and he was
Coward.
saying, yeah, Colin Coward. Yeah, I was watching him, and he was saying like, yeah, Big Ben. He looked out of shape and stuff. It looks like he doesn't really care much about his game anymore, and like what was he saying? Like, basically, he's this guy who just likes to have fun. Just drink some beers and stuff. That's basically all he likes to
He's looked
do.
like that his whole career.
He has done that during his whole career, but he was looking really out of shape this game. He was
I
like,
was gonna say, when did Big Ben not look out of shape? I'm like, he debuted out of shape.
true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But like we could tell which quarterback, Brady is like so much better than Roethlisberger. I'll tell you that. Like, and it's just crazy, and yeah, but it's so good to see the Steelers go out though. I love it. I was laughing. I'm like, yes, yes, and then all them Steelers fans were just going like, oh, they were hiding away and stuff, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
Whew. All right, Adam.
Woo, Gene, I've not been this happy since my first date with Sally Good. Listen here. Listen up. Listen up. I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
It's actually good news.
No, for the for the Pittsburgh fans, I got some bad news. The tear with a tear in his eye, Big Ben. That was 17 years of a build up to the greatest payoff ever in the history of being a Cleveland Browns fan. If there was one game in one circumstance that was going to be gift wrapped to us, it was this. Of never beating Big Ben at Heinz Field. And yes, you can tell me it's because they didn't have fans in the crowd, the large group of fans. Fine, whatever. Does not change the fact that your center hiked the ball 70 miles over Big Ben's head. Connor nor Ben did a great job trying to get that damn ball. And exactly.
Didn't even
They
try
both
laying on
look
it.
at each other running to the goal line. Like, are you gonna get it? Like, I'm not. Okay, let's try for it. Um, and here's the other thing too. If you notice that formation that they were going to do, they ran that very same play after the initial kickoff, right? Or on the next kickoff, whatever. I'm like, they ran this. There was no creativity, even when they tried to do that fullback dive again to Derek Watt. after they got first down with that. They tried to run that same play, and Larry Ogunjobi made a mockery of Marquise Pouncey, pushing him 10 yards back into the backfield.
Did he
And
make him
Ronnie
retire?
Harrison stops him. Pouncey retired. Yes, he did. And probably a good idea after that showing. But here's the thing. But just to keep that perspective, this has been a trend happening for a while, particularly in that Cincinnati game on that bobbled or that bad snap and Ben bobbled it. This has been a downward trend. They are old. This is still the mighty Steelers, but now Father Time don't do no jobs. It's finally catching up to them, and their coordinator was not being creative at all. Fellas, Roethlisberger threw the ball 68 times. 68 times. This is the mighty Steelers with the running games from over here, from Bettis with Bell. Connor's a nice little piece, again, when things are afloat. But they're dead last in the league when running to run the ball. And I actually don't even mind their tandem with him, Snell, and McFarland. But I am just stunned. That they even when the score is within reach, whatever, though, they always abandon the run. And that's been a trend all year. This team is 11-0, and they talked all that shit from Eric Ebron to Chase Claypool and beyond. And again, I was given receipts all night.
Hey, has Claypool heard of her yet?
I believe he has, and the first taste of it was against Washington. And Eric Ebron, after replying to LeBron James saying, "Go Brown," at the time, this was the Jacksonville game. Hey, 8-3, go Browns! Awesome. Where are they going, bro? Well, guess where we're going? We're going to KC next week. Well, you sit your fat ass at home, and you get to watch us play again. Now, Chase Claypool, you are going to be a star in this league. I have no doubt in my mind. Everyone's trying to give you the Mapletron moniker because of your size and the maple aspect of it because you're from Canada. Fine. But I'm surprised, Chase, that you can talk with all that salt in your mouth, talking all that shit after the game. If you want to say that we're going to get clapped next week, that's all fine and dandy. But if we get clapped next week, it's one more game than what you had. And you want to shit talk to Robert Jackson, who became a starter 2 weeks ago, and you want to try to dog on this guy. That dude fought with you stride for stride, and you got the garbage yardage when it was an astronomical deficit that you guys were facing. Now, when it was 28-0, it felt like a lifetime went by, and then I was like, my God, there's still 3/4 of this. But amongst all that, I was giddy, I was gaga, but I wasn't even yelling and screaming. I wasn't amped right now.
Second half.
I was just staring at my screen. I did not know what to process what I was seeing. But then all of a sudden, Oprah Winfrey showed up in the backfield for the Steelers. You get a pick. And you get a pick. Oh, and you get a pick. MJ Stewart, Sheldrake, red wine, and Sione Takitaki. Sione Takitaki may be the figure that sent Ben Pack into retirement. And really, at this point, Ben needs to. Not for the simple fact that I'm tired of looking at his fucking bloated ass, because I'm sick of it. Sick of it. But
he's fat.
He's fat. Literally, he has come out that he does not do any type of training. Like, all he does is send his playbook. Hey, that's great, whatever, though. But you're a stump. You're a stump with arms. So, and again,
DJ can go be quarterback.
I took such joy. I took such joy of watching that tear go down his face. His big, fat, bloated face. Because, again, I'm like, that is what we have been feeling for 21 years. 17 of that from your hands. From your hands. That has been what's happened to Cleveland fans. But I cannot forget about this. Oh, doo-doo shit Schuster. Thank you for the bulletin board material and saying that we were the same old Browns. And then everybody trying to try to back him up and goes, that's not what he meant, blah, blah, blah. Dude literally was winking at the camera. And if that wasn't a wink, then he needs to have his head examined because he has a twitch, a very, very bad twitch. He had a decent game. It was okay. But what happened? What happened? No, we did not get a sack. But Adrian Claiborne, Myles Garrett, Obi, they were in his grill all night. And that helps with your linebackers and your secondary because their offense is not scary. Everybody was getting closer. You saw those cover 3, cover 6s all night, just creeping in the box. Now, the only time that I got a little nervous was in the third quarter where they scored in like 4 plays. That made me mad. And the other one that made me mad is when they didn't get that stop on 4th and 10 in the red zone. Because that happens. There's no sweating it out. Now, again, I'm talking about a game where I was sweating it out when it got to 12. It got to 12. And I was just like, oh, here we go. But I never had to hear that goddamn song Renegade, because that's always the kiss of death. Which little sidebar, the Brown show that I listened to, they started off the broadcast by playing Renegade to play into the show. Again, payoff. Funny. This was like Raven finally losing to Tommy Dreamer. There was us giving the DDT on the stop sign saying EC fucking W. Bam! Lights out. 1, 2, 3. And props to this gentleman right here for having, it didn't have to be a 500-yard affair. It didn't have to be that. You had 2 stud running backs. You have an absolute animal in Jarvis Landry. That 40-yard touchdown run, I thought that was like, all right, good possession, the first down. And he just kept going. I'm like, what is happening right now? Fun little fact, that was the same type of play where Mika overshot or stepped in front of Baker's pass and took it back in the pick 6 of the first game. This time, Baker recognized it. Instead of lobbing it, he throws a BB straight to Jarvis, and Jarvis does the rest. And Kareem Hunt, he's still piggybacking Pittsburgh Steelers on his back and said, hold my beer, son. I'm getting across the goal line. That dude ran pissed off. And that's why I cannot wait for this game this week. But either way, Pittsburgh, it's been fun for you. Welcome to the rest of us. Because now you got to unload a lot of players next year. Doo-doo Schuster being one of them. Big Ben may have to retire. I don't know what Cam Hayward's situation is. But again, he's not a spring chicken. He's still good, but he's not a spring chicken.
That O-line.
They need, yes. Joe Hayden, yes. They need to start their rebuild now. Ben's owed $41 million. If he is to come back, which I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I think it's time, which is why when I seen the tears, that was the look of a man that knows that he is done and was soaking in the view of Heinz Field one more time. Same with Pouncey. They need to either cut him so he doesn't have to pay back the $12 million sign that he wouldn't sign, so everybody leaves away straight, or he comes back. You want to come back for one more season to be okay for about 6 or 7 games and then be mediocre for the rest of the half? Or is this going to be a glorified goodbye tour? What's the point in that? This is the Steelers we're talking about. They need to start right now. I don't think he would do what Brady did, is be like, you know what? I want to do that elsewhere. Because now everybody knows he's got a broken beak. It's not there. Everybody saw what the world saw that game. Airmailing. He can't push it down the field unless it's schemed open. And not to mention, you went against a secondary that is so decimated, that did not have Denzel Ward, that did not have Kevin Johnson, who did not have Grant Delpit all year. Greedy Williams, need I say more? We've got those gentlemen back this week, by the way, but we'll get into that when we get to the Chiefs game. So either way, you Pittsburgh fans that were riding my ass, and all other Browns fans are saying, like, yeah, you won week 17, but you played the backups. Well, guess what? We whipped the shit out of your starters. So you can't use that card anymore. Did anybody see the video of the pudgy black guy, a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, that took a ladder to his TV?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I was going to say, if not, I will send that to the group chat.
Yeah, you guys.
But either way, don't be sad. Don't be sad that Baker and the offense carved you up. It's done. It's over with. You got big brothered by the team that you'd been shitting on for 20 years.
Okay. All right.
Case closed.
Well said. Let's jump into the divisional round. Ravens, Bills preview. A game I'm very, very, very interested in. Of course, the Ravens played the Bills last year. I think they ended up winning by 7. If I'm not mistaken. No, I think they won by 10. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember.
It was a 10-point game, I think.
Which game?
The Ravens and the Bills.
Yeah, Ravens and the Bills.
You sure about a game last year? Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we played them last year.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I was going to say it was a tight game, but yes, I do think it was like 9-10 points.
Right. So I mean, I'm interested in this one. Of course, I've said it before. I think if the Ravens play their game, they can beat literally anybody because nobody's built to play against an offense the way the Ravens run their offense. I hope that the one pick a game thing that Lamar's been doing lately is done after last week. Hopefully he got all the jitters out and all that. I've been saying this over the past week or so. I think the Titans game, in my opinion, was the hardest game. Not from a talent perspective, not that the games don't get harder, but from a pressure perspective. Because all the pressure was in that Titans game. You got to win your first playoff game. Can you win your first playoff game? Can you come from behind? All those little narratives that they were throwing at the Ravens. Getting that first playoff win is huge because now I think you can breathe a little bit and play more free. Play your game and know that you can win with your game in the playoffs. I think this game's going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be a very good game. I think for the Ravens' perspective, defensively, it comes down to who you're going to put on Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is a stud in every way. He's a beast. I think if you put Marlon on him, I think it'll be good. But I don't think they're going to move Marlon around. I don't see them doing that because I think Peters likes to play where he plays. And I think Marlon likes to play where he plays, or he can shift to the slot or wherever he needs to. But I think Peters likes to play that right side that he plays. So, with that being said, I think you let Stephon Diggs move to wherever he's going to move to. And you just shift whatever corner you want to on him and play help over the top so he can't beat you deep. Because I'm not worried about anybody else. John Brown a little bit with his speed. Cole Beasley kind of in the trenches a little bit. But I think they'll be fine with those guys. I think Stephon Diggs is the biggest thing. I'm not terribly worried about the run game for the Bills. The biggest thing that I want to see is I want to see the Ravens, like I said before in video after video after video, stay disciplined. They did it against the Titans, against a really heavy run team where you know you can get beat over the top of those play action plays. The Bills are the same way, not in terms of play action or anything like that, but in terms of they can just beat you down the field. Be disciplined, understand your concepts, and QB contain from the defensive line. Push Josh Allen back into your help on the D-line. Don't let him get outside the pocket. Don't let him run. And easier said than done, I get it. But limit that. Make him beat you with his arm. I don't think that it's not that he can't do it, but that ability to move around, and we see it with Lamar Jackson, we see it with some of the other mobile quarterbacks, you see it with Patrick Mahomes as well. That ability to move around is the reason why some of these plays become what some of these plays become. If it snows, I, I think in a way it benefits the Ravens a little bit more because they are a smash mouth, run it down your throat type of a team. I expect a big game from J.K. I expect a big game from Gus. If it snows, I don't expect Lamar to break anybody off too much. If it snows, I think it's going to be very downhill, very in your face, very smash mouth. If it doesn't snow, I think it's going to be business as usual, and I think the Ravens will take care of business. And go ahead and move on to the AFC Championship game. Now, my thoughts on who I want the Ravens to face in the AFC Championship game. I want that kind of revenge game against the Chiefs. To be the best, you got to beat the best. The Chiefs are the best right now, technically, and the Ravens have never beat them. So if you're going to check off narratives, let's go ahead and get them all while you make your run. Go ahead and tick them all. But it starts with this game first. Go play your game. Play mistake-free football and see how easy it is. That's what I want to see. I want to see mistake-free football playing your game, and I want to see how easy it can be. Not to say that the Bills are not a good football team, because I think they are, but I think, like we talked about before with the Colts, and what we saw with the Colts against the Bills, there are some things that you can attack. Attack those. Their run defense is not great. Run against them. It's okay. You can run against them. Their run defense is not great. That's what you do. It's perfect. Same thing with the Chiefs. If you do, not getting ahead of myself too much, but if you advance, and let's say the Chiefs advance, run against them. Same thing with the Browns too. Run against them. It's what you do. Stick to what you do. You'll win the game.
It's what I do.
If you stick to what you do, you'll win the game. So, of course, I'm going with the Ravens here. Everybody knows that. But play your game. Don't let them be too big for you. I don't think it is. Like I said before, I think the pressure's off now. You can breathe now. You don't have the pressure of being a Super Bowl contender from last year. You don't have the pressure of winning that first playoff game. It's over. Play free. Breathe a little bit. Play free. And go win this football game on a Saturday night. Let's go. All right. Casey, thoughts on the Bills and the Ravens game? If Casey is there. I don't know if Casey's there or not. Okay.
I mean, you really need to ask me who I'm going to pick in this? Because I will never pick the Ravens.
The refs?
No, not the refs.
The Buffalo Williams.
The Buffalo Williams. You are correct.
Yeah, I'm better here.
They're not done. I feel it. They're hungry. They're not done. And they going to eat some rat bird today.
Fat birds.
Rat birds.
No, they're fat birds to me.
Why do we have him on here?
All right. Let's just go to Justin since we're already halfway there.
Halfway there. We're halfway there. This is gonna be a very good game here, but I think the line ends here for Lamar Jackson. Like, I don't know why. I just want to see the Ravens lose here. I mean, yes, I would like to see him in the conference championship, because they still have to, there's one team they have to get past, which is the Chiefs. I don't want to jump ahead of myself too much, but that's their one team. That's their kryptonite, is the Chiefs. But no, but back on this game. But no, if the Ravens, like you said, if they stay disciplined, stick to what they know, stick to their game plan, they're going to win this game. Stick to the scheme of things. I like scheme of things. I'm big into scheme of things. So if they stick to that, they'll win. But I don't know. I just feel like the Bills are going to win here. I don't know why. I have a sense in my heart saying that the Bills are going to win.
Okay. Real quick, If it's Ravens Browns in the AFC Championship game, can we put the AFC North title on the line? Adam.
Oh, do I wish. I wish that were the case. Obviously, again, the underdog factor I know is going to be big for you guys because now they're off the schneid. But these to me, these were the two hottest teams going into the playoffs because the Bills were just mauling people, take, taking the will out of them, and just Lamar started to cook. Lamar started to cook in the Monday night game. That's where the edge started going back in their favor because I mean from there then you had the favorable schedule, but that you couldn't ask for it at a better time. Them getting that monkey off their back. It's not even just the playoff win, getting it against Tennessee first and foremost is of finally exercising those demons. Um, they got to go on the road, so that's a big deal. They just allowed fans in Buffalo, whatever. And again, I will put them in the same boat as Cleveland fans. Even if it's just 7,000 people, that's going to sound like 50,000 people in there. So, I mean, you do have to contest with that. Weather is going to play a factor, whatever it may be. One thing I think, and they have the means to do so, because especially with Baltimore, they have that massive giant in Queen that can just be eye to eye with Allen all night. You have to just because he's been able to throw the shit freely at will, whether it be to Beasley, whether it be to Diggs, whomever. They said they've got a pretty good tight end. Their running game is not bad, but Singletary and Moss, I don't think, especially Singletary, I don't think he has quite been what they thought he would be. So you do have they're going to. I think they're really. I think they're really going to. Yeah, stress and sell out to. We are not. We are not going to get beat. We are not going to get beat by Stephon Diggs. You got to matriculate. You got to earn these drives. But and to me, it's a matter of collapsing the pocket with Allen because yes, he is elusive, but it's just a matter of doing exactly what the Colts did. Is again, don't let him free up the middle. You have to flush him out because again, elusive, big guy. He's got some good movement, but he's not as quick around the edge as Lamar. So it's really of him forcing him to make those errant throws. Some of them, yes, some of them he can make. But that first touchdown pass he had against the Colts, whatever though, was a glorified pitch, falling down, and he just Henry Rowan Gardnered it, right into the corner of the end zone. But aside from ours, of course, out of all the games, this is one I'm looking forward to because it's properly the prime time game. Again, my heart wants to see the Bills go on, just because of the drought, and I do like the moxie of the Bills, and they're almost like the second cousins to Cleveland fans, much like Detroit. Um, and this really is like for me a coin flip with an elusive athletic quarterback in Lamar and a big stout Mandalorian like figure in Josh Allen, who's capturing the hearts of a lot of eyes of people maybe not a fan of the Bills but being a fan of a player. Um, and I think that was a good test for Buffalo too, of having that grind out game that you had to beat a good team, but you had to grind down to the last couple of minutes after, but getting that type of adversity, if you want to call it that, but getting hit in the mouth, realize like, oh, okay, this ain't going to be a cakewalk. Like we got to earn our stripes here. I think they'll learn from that and be a little bit more precise in the game plan because there was some goofy things that happened in that Colts game, but my heart my heart says the Bills, just because I do think they're on a roll right now. But my mind is telling me that this is going to be in a tight one. The Ravens, and again, I cannot stress this enough. Justin Tucker.
He don't miss many. He missed one last. Was it last week? He missed one. If I'm not
It was
mistaken.
last week's missed one, but it was 50 some yards. And yes, he's usually good from there, but again, given the circumstance, I'm like, he's allowed to miss one every once in a while.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing about Justin Tucker. You trust him so much that when he misses one, you're like, oh, but it's okay. It's Justin Tucker. Like, it's whatever. Um, but okay. Let's jump into the Chiefs Browns matchup. A very interesting one with Adam and Justin having a lot to say. I'll start with you two.
You could go first since you come into my place. I'll let you talk first.
You're coming into my place, going into the Red Kingdom.
It's the Chiefs Kingdom.
Red Kingdom.
But the thing is, if I'm a Browns player and be like, I like Tech Nine, I like the color red. Let's make them bleed. Let's go. This is again. This is one thing where again it's the same thing that I said last week. We have come too far to we have come too far to just lay down and say, you know what? Glad we made it to the playoffs. We beat the Steelers. Nobody expected that. Like, okay, now, okay, we're going against the former Super Bowl champs. Okay, like this is a tall order. But again, somebody from the opposing team has to open their big fucking mouths and throw the bulletin board material and
Kareem
sprinkle
Hunt?
in. No, Sammy Watkins.
But
Sammy Watkins.
I did hear Kareem Hunt saying something, but you can keep going.
But yes, but Sam, again, these going to be the most motivated individual in the world this upcoming weekend, and it's already been sprinkled in from the Cleveland media talking about the incident that happened when the Chiefs played Cleveland
Well,
at Cleveland a few years
mm-hmm.
ago. Um, game plan wise, you're not going to stop Mahomes. First and foremost, because this is throwing that out there. You can't blitz him. You need every defender in the back, falling back into coverage. You need all hands on deck. This is going to come down to Claiborne, Miles, whatever rotation they want to do, especially if they put Porter Custon and whoever. You need those guys to step up. Now, I don't know if you saw this. Mitchell Schwartz is not playing this week. You still have Fisher, and it's still the creative mind and the genius that is Andy Reid, who's a fucking wizard coming off games off the bye. Now I still say this is still a tall order because since November, all their games have been won by 6 points or less. They have not looked as sharp. Now, if I'm looking at a game to how to attack Patrick Mahomes, it's that Dolphins game. Whatever that was, you go with that. Now you can't play.
Or go to the Raiders game.
The Raiders game too. Yes. But that one I don't want to say was necessarily fool's gold. But it was two different teams at the time. It was a good win by the Raiders. Then they fell off a cliff. And then the Chiefs went into again. I still say one hand behind their back. All right. Okay. Dolphins by Saints. Is it January yet? Pat, all you guys, we're not gonna face the Chargers this week. They may blow the lead, we may lose. Who knows? But it just they are primed. They were really primed in making sure that they got that number one slot. Got home field. This and the other. But in terms of in terms of the defense, whatever. Again, you need all hands on deck from the linebackers, DBs, all that. You got to throw everybody. You got to throw everybody in that you can in that zone read because I'm more worried about Kelsey than anybody else. Tyreek is Tyreek.
Yeah.
Tyreek is Tyreek. He's whether you DJ like you were saying going against Diggs, whether you have Denzel or you have Denzel shadowing Tyreek, and then you get help over the top, whether it be Ronnie Harrison and Kevin Johnson. But then again, too, then you could put Johnson in the slot with Kelsey, and then again having that extra DB again, just not to have him, especially down the seam. Kelsey is the best down the seam pass catcher I've ever seen, just because he's that fucking good. But yeah, to me, it's Kelsey that is the issue here. Le'Veon has been good. I don't think he was going to be the stamp of if something happens to Clyde, you could just picture him. He's still deadly in the pass catching, for sure. But is Clyde back? Because I thought he was out for the year after the Saints.
He returned back to practice.
He returned back to practice. Okay, because someone had brought that up. Whatever. I'm like, I thought he got hurt in the Saints game, but I hadn't heard anything else.
Yeah, he did get hurt in the Saints game. Yeah.
So really, what this boils down to is that you have to go point for point with this team. You got to play keep away, and I know that's easier said than done. But you have the personnel and the personnel, and you have a quarterback that has been on the uptick since week 7. And Spagnuolo for the Chiefs, again, they are blitz. So I really hope Kendall Lamb did a great job at right tackle filling in for Jack Conklin. So I do have confidence if he has to fill in. But if Conklin's in, again, he's got to go against Fisher. Frank Clark. And poor Jed's got to go against Chris Jones. But Jed has been getting better in pass protection. I will say that he has been definitely getting better at pass protection. Now it's a matter of can you keep him stout and hold your ground in those run games, because the running game is going to be so important this game. David Njoku, you need to up your blocking game. You've gotten better. You need to continue that. And then everybody else line, Hooper, Harrison, whoever. Take your shots when needed, but you need to just have these long, sustaining 5-6 minute drives. And you need to force a turnover from Mahomes. Now, really, in this case, that even means if you can force a punt. If you can force punts, I think that's just as good. But regardless, in terms of the other big thing I could say is if you get those long drives and you get in the red zone, the Chiefs are dead last in red zone defense. They're 21st against the run, or 21, 22, somewhere in that range.
22nd, I think.
Yeah, you can move the ball. You can move the ball on this team. But it's just a matter of you just gotta make enough plays. Kind of what you did in the Pittsburgh game. Just try to keep everything as short as possible. You need to have the clock on your side. And again, but it's easier said than done. Now, going into the predictions per se. I don't think it is out of the ordinary or think it's a crazy idea to think that Cleveland can win this game. They absolutely could. They have shown that they can hang with anybody, score on anybody. This is a different team. The ultimate thing this comes down to is coaching. As much as I have faith in Kevin Stefanski, Bill Callahan, and all those guys coming back, and Joel coming back, and all that stuff, this is going to come down to coaching. And Andy Reid, elder statesman, but again, he's almost the Dumbledore of the NFL. He's the magic just comes out of that brain. He's a mad scientist. He's like the boss at the end of every Sonic level on the old Sega Genesis with the big mustache. So, like to me, this comes down to coaching. Andy Reid is a master. And again, as much as I love Kevin, I have to me he's coach of the year. Whether it's when it's all said and done, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to be rooting my ass off. You best believe we feel that we belong, and as the hashtag's been happening all week, we want more. Now, this is me being objective, and maybe me even throwing in the reverse jinx, if you will. But I do think in a close one, in a close one, Chiefs will prevail, being that they're at home.
All right, Justin, it's on you, brother.
Okay, so you know what they're saying the spread is going to be for this game? It's going to be 10 points. 10 points. We haven't covered a spread since I don't know when the last game we covered a spread for, but we haven't covered like that's a
The
big.
last double-digit win y'all probably had.
I don't know. Maybe was that I don't even know what team that was against. Probably it's just so long ago, but especially the playoffs, it's hard to it's hard to do that. Now I'm gonna give a couple scenarios here. Okay, so if the Browns want to win this game, they're gonna need to run the ball. You know, they're gonna have time of possession. They're gonna need to run the ball with Hunt and Chubb a lot. They're going to need to keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, like especially what they did, what the Raiders did to us. You know how they beat us the first time. You know the type of possession was a big key factor. Also, turnovers. You guys are going to get turnovers and staying disciplined. Also, getting to Patrick. Like that. That's what you guys need to do to win. And there is a possibility you guys could win because because sometimes when the Chiefs come off buys, we tend, it tends to not go in our favor, except for these last
They
couple
haven't
of years.
the starters haven't played a game in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it feels forever. It feels like forever since I watched the Chiefs play. Like, when's the last time the Chiefs played? Since back in December. I feel like that was so long ago. But that's crazy. But yeah, now if the Chiefs want to win, if we want to, keep going, we have to, our defense is going to step up here. Like it's gonna be, Patrick Mahomes, he's gonna be slinging it, around, the Tyreek Hill, the Travis Kelce, and I know I don't have any, our offense is gonna get the job done, but our defense, that's a big part. That's how we win. That's how we need to win. Like I remember last year, when we had the, stop Derrick Henry. Our defense needs to step up here, and also, go ahead. No, you go
No, go
ahead.
ahead.
Also, with Kareem Hunt saying this is personal, it's personal. I mean, yeah, it is personal, but the reason why I would cut you because for some reasons like I don't want to get into, but but yeah, this is going to be very personal. It's
Yeah, and again, it is for him because it's again that's his. I don't want to say that's his extra motivation, but this was this is the flip, and I this is apples and oranges, but just kind of given the context, this was like Odell. He wanted to leave. He did kind of was pushing the narrative that he wanted out of New York, whatever, though, but kind of did it to himself. But it was still that thing, like, man, I have been fired by this organization. Difference is Kareem did this to himself. That no one, everybody saw that video. No, no ifs, ands, or buts. But again, obviously, this is something for him. Now, again, for me, hey, if this lights a fire under your ass, that it's like this is the team that drafted me. By the way, this is the John Dorsey Bowl. John Dorsey formulated the Chiefs and he formulated the Browns, the core players, and here we're at now. So I know he's going to be sitting back with the Mai Tai going, kill each other, you sons of bitches. But going with go back to your defenses again. They need Spagnola. Spagnola needs to be very, very careful on how he attacks the line with all those blitzes because he does all that disguising. But what Baker has done masterfully is with when you how do you formulate that screens, shit over the middle. Jarvis and Higgins have lived in the middle of the field, and that's where Baker's is most uh, effective. And again, this is one game too where I would love to see just David Njoku just go off, just absolutely because he has redeemed himself after that Raiders game. Whatever though, again, increase your blocks. He is him and Donovan Peoples Jones are the better, and Jarvis are good on those contested catches, and you're gonna need that. You're gonna need that to keep those drives going. Get the chunk plates when you can. But again, I don't want to say slow everything down, but again, then you got to go back to your bread and butter. And I would do more of Kareem and Chubb on the field at the same time. In the wing, having Kareem going out as a receiver, or have them both sitting side by side. You gotta be creative. And this
Yeah,
even goes
both
with
of
Joe
them
Woods.
combined.
You gotta be creative.
Both of them combined are going to need like 100 plus yards if they want to win.
And both 20 touches plus.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
even just screen plays. I just mean full on runs. They need 20 plus touches.
Yeah. But with my prediction, I mean, you guys already, kind of know I'm going to go with here. I'm going to say the Chiefs. We're going to win with a close one here. I mean, I would like us to cover the spread here. I hope we do. I wouldn't mind it being a blowout. But, it's the playoffs. The playoffs can go anyway. It can flip on a dime. So, but yeah, I got my Chiefs winning here.
All right, Casey. What do you think?
Browns. I need y'all to pull this out for me. Listen, if the Raiders could beat the Chiefs, y'all could do this. And I love my Raiders, don't get me wrong, but if they could beat them, you could do this. Any team, any day. Chiefs need to lose. They need to. Sorry, Justin. I
It's all
can't.
right. It's all
I
right.
can't deal with your fan base. I can't. You got one Super Bowl.
How do you think it pains me? How do you think it pains me to say that? Because I have every confidence in the team, whatever. Though I think it's just that that dangling carrot. It's getting closer and closer, whatever. Though, and it's just it's a matter of can we jump up and grab the brass ring, pal? If we can make that just that one final hump, that one last jump. That piece is coming back, whatever. But again, I just still factor of it goes like Andy Reid has been here for 20 years. This is a first-time coach who's a very capable play caller, game manager, etc. Again, you're still going against. It's still the Super Bowl champs on the other end of the field.
Yeah, and I think in general, the Browns are hungry. They want this. They're not doing it just for themselves. They're doing it for so many Browns fans that have watched countless losing season after losing season after losing season. Like they need this, and even if they don't win, I know they're gonna give them a hell of a fight. Because the Browns are not gonna back down. They're not gonna. They're going out with a fight if they go out. But the Chiefs are gonna lose, so we won't have to worry about that. Sorry, Justin.
Hey, it's all right. I mean, it's all right.
Yeah, this was tough because the Chiefs have been off for so long, but at the same time, they are the Chiefs, right? Like they're supposed to be good.
We are the we are the chefs.
Sure.
We like to chef up. We like to chef up things.
Sure, yeah. But anyway, they are the Chiefs. They should what do they say? Take care of business, as Adam would say. But it's just it's almost like a coin flip in a way, because when I watch the Chiefs I think they're good, but they're not that unbeatable team that won the Super Bowl last year. Well, in the regular season they were unbeatable. In the playoffs they were a little beatable, but they still, took care of business and won their games, and of course, hoisted the Lombardi. But this year has just been different, especially over the last 7 weeks or so, whatever it was. They felt different. It felt like there was weakness there. It felt like there was little places here and there where you could exploit them. I think that the Browns are going to somehow win this game. I don't know how they're going to do it. I can't even really put my mind around how they're going to do it. Because the Chiefs are, Patrick Mahomes is great. But I think at the same time, once again, we talk about teams seeing a good pass rush. Like a real good pass rush. Not like Baltimore where we want to be a good pass rush, but we just hit the quarterback. I don't think the Browns need to blitz. I think they have a good enough front four where they don't need to blitz. And I think that plays into their favor because Patrick Mahomes against the blitz is absolutely ridiculous. He can read everything. Yes, Adam. Well, while you get that, it's whenever it unsticks itself or whatever it's doing. But there's something like he reads the blitz so well, and Baltimore fans know it more than anybody. He reads the blitz so well. Go ahead, Al.
Now, and again, as much as that's where I would like that to be the case where they could throw stunts and just try to confuse Mahomes with different looks or something. But like, if you're going to blitz, they need to pick their spots. With BJ, however they do it, if it's Justin Phillips, I think you're going to see a lot more Justin Phillips this week because he's great and quick around the edge. So if they do those end arounds and things of that nature, he's quick enough to at least flush him out of the pocket and not let them cut up field. But Mac Wilson is great of shooting the gap, plugging the hole. But the only problem is he can't wrap up, and you can have him say, "All right, Mac, there's number 15, go tackle him." It's just not that's not feasible. So I'm just saying, if you're gonna blitz, you've got to pick your spots. You have to pick your spots. If you can get to a point where you pin them back at the goal line, then maybe you take a chance. But other than that, between the 20s, you need to have everybody on deck, everybody about face, and say, can you, again, zone, get help up top, whatever though. So whoever you got to do, even if it's rotation, Carl Joseph, MJ Stewart, Ronnie Harrison, Sendejo. This would be the time where I would have Sendejo be in the box, coming around on a corner blitz, whatever, because as much shit as he get, whatever, he comes in like a torpedo. So I don't want to make him the sacrificial lamb per se, but he could be the one where he could at least just disrupt Patrick somehow, and maybe that frees up somebody to come through the middle, whether it's Sheldon, Ogun.
Well, there's something I want to say before DJ gets back to your point. Before you get back to your point here, another key factor for this game, for the Ravens game, is Harrison Butker. Like he doesn't miss many field goals. Like if the game's coming down to it, and we have to send Harrison Butker out there to win the game, send him out there. Just like Justin Tucker for the Ravens.
But not as good. Anyway.
No, we better. We haven't missed this.
That's debatable. I've seen Harrison Butker miss some suspect.
Tucker is the GOAT.
Tucker is the GOAT.
Yeah,
he is the GOAT.
Missed some suspect kicks now. But anyway.
Well, actually, Phil Dawson's the GOAT, but anyway.
Cody Parkey.
Excuse me, Mr. Vinatieri.
That fucker played for the Patriots. It doesn't count.
Yeah, you can't take the credit now, Casey. Anyway,
We don't
The
hold
greatest
it against
kicker in
him.
Colts history is Pat McAfee, and you know this to be truth.
This
The
is a
best
fact. This is
the
a
best
fact.
kicker is Sam Ficken.
I'm convinced Pat McAfee could play linebacker and it would be awesome. He's I
So I
love
just
that.
went on out there that I just wanted to hit a motherfucker.
but I mean, I think, like I said, if they can resort to not blitzing, I think that'll go in their favor. But it's easier said than done with getting pressure. It's gonna be a good game, but something tells me the Browns are gonna win this game. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the layoff from the Chiefs. I don't know if it's because they looked a little suspect. Trust and believe. If the Ravens can get past the Bills, I want to see the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Exercise all them demons. I want to see the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. But I think this game could go either way. The Browns do, and my last point here before we get to the Packers and the Rams, I do feel like the Browns have the perfect offense to match up against this suspect Chiefs defense. Now the Chiefs defense is suspect, but they are opportunistic. A lot of people say that about the Ravens defense, but more so the Chiefs defense is opportunistic. They, like, when I tell you they are suspect 90% of the time, but that 10% of the time that you need them, they're right there. That's exactly how the Chiefs are. And I think the running game of the Browns is a big key in this game. If they stick to their guns and give the ball to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, easy for me to say, then I think the Browns could win this game. I'm picking the Browns.
The other thing too that the Chiefs special teams need to look out for is Dearness Johnson. Dearness Johnson has been averaging 30 to 35 yards a game on returns. So that's the other thing too. Field position. You give Baker a decent field position, and again, that's where he can pick you apart. So, but that has been a narrative that's been happening, I would say, about the last 5 or 6 weeks, DJ, is that some people they keep asking the question, who is the best, who has the better chance to dethrone the Chiefs, whatever game it would be in the playoffs, and maybe even the Super Bowl. And actually, I'll take that just in the playoffs in general, just strictly the AFC. Would it be the Ravens? Would it be the Ravens, the Bills, the Steelers, the Browns, etc.? A lot of people, and again, this is not hyperbole. A lot of people were saying that the Browns had the perfect formula because the powerful elusiveness of Chubb, and then just the sheer power of Kareem. And again, Baker being on the uptick. So again, knock on wood. Being a Baker picks his shots, those shots downfield. This is why I really hope Kadero Hodge can come back this week too. He's off the list, but I'm just hoping that he gets up to speed in the game plan. So that's why I say I'm not saying that they have no shot, whatever. Though I think it's just like one really big key elements here and there that I think again just definitely benefit the Chiefs, whatever. And again, just the simple fact that again Patrick Mahomes is a unicorn, whatever. But they are going against a hungry team that has been on the rise, that have now played 3 weeks in a row or two, a couple weeks in a row now. So they're still getting their legs underneath them, and they almost had an inverted bye, a very very mini bye, not being able to practice last week. I wish they would have. It still would have been nice, but J.C. Treader said that was almost a blessing in disguise because we have an extra day or two to rest. But now you're getting everybody coming back on full hands on deck. Kevin Johnson and Denzel are off the COVID list. Hopefully we get Joel Bitonio back. I think he's eligible to come back Friday. That would be massive. But nonetheless, I'm going to be rooting my ass off. But if they lose Sunday, this has been more than what I could have asked for in terms of I thought this was going to be the foundation year. Not only do they build the foundation, now they're building the house, making a deep run into the playoffs.
Yeah, exceeding the expectations for this year, exceeding them.
Right. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in in that one. I had something else to say, but I don't remember what it was. So we're gonna move on, um, and quickly pick the NFC side of things. Packers and Rams. I guess I'm gonna go with the Packers. I mean, this was a coin flip too. I think the Packers are good, but at the same time, they do have a little bit of a choke factor in the playoffs. Um, there's something about them that they just playoff time comes and they don't do it. But I would like to see Aaron versus Tom potentially in the NFC Championship game. I think that would be fun, and see Tom beat him. But nonetheless, I'm gonna go with the upset anyway, just for kicks and giggles. I'm going with the Rams. Casey. Rams.
I don't know why you're laughing over there, Adam. I think I'm going with the Rams as well.
No,
I've said it.
no. Say it right.
Sorry, I'm going with the Rams. Or is it the Rammy-Hammies?
It's the Remy
The-
Hammies.
It's the
The
Rams.
Rammy.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's DJ's version. Rams. It's like
I'm
they're
going with
sliding
the
in to the
Rams.
DMs.
I'm going with the
See,
Rams.
there you go.
I mean, I said it in past seasons. I knew they were eventually going to get back to, at least getting to the playoffs, and they finally did. They made it. I'm going to give them the shot here. I think they can. I think they could take it, and then they're going to lose, and I'm never going to pick them again. But I'm giving them the chance.
All right, Adam.
If Goff was 100%, I would probably give them a legit chance, but he's still got that busted thumb and Donald's hurt. So really it comes down to, can they make enough plays? Can Goff make enough plays to make them nervous? Because I think this is going to be a big Akers game. You're going to see him a lot, and then a lot of jet sweeps from is Cup playing? 'Cause I know he got hurt again in Seattle.
I think so.
Yeah, so again, they need a lot of things to go right, but for me, it still comes back down to you have to go to Lambeau, and that is a tall order. By game time, I think it's going to be like in the high teens, and I can't see those guys being able to withstand that. So I think the Rams will keep it interesting, not a blowout, not necessarily close, but I think they'll hang around for a little bit, be kind of like the Bucks in the Washington game. But yeah, I will go with the Packers.
All right, Justin.
This is actually a hard game here to pick. Because I would love to see an upset up here with the Remy Hammes winning. But with them having to go to Lambeau, the frozen tundra, there's not many too much teams that can go in there, and especially with a climate like Los Angeles, the Rams have. They're not used to going down to the tundra, so I want to go with Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Rams, if you take it to overtime at the coin flip, don't say we want the ball and we're going to score.
All right, last one, but not least. The Saints and the Buccaneers. Tom Brady versus Drew Brees. It should be a fun one. Tom Brady has not beaten Drew Brees this season. It actually looked terrible in both of those games. But there's something about Tom Brady and the playoffs. I don't know what it is, but there's something that makes you just believe that he'll win this football game. Somehow, some way. He may have looked like poop both times he played him, but he's going to come out here and play this game. I think he is. And I don't know what it is, man, about the Saints. in the playoffs, but they something's got to go wrong. Like I don't know what it is. I don't understand it, but something's got to go wrong.
They're gonna have a helmet to helmet, and it's gonna be at the end of the game.
And it might just be the fact that you're facing Tom Brady in the playoffs. I'm going with the Buccaneers over the Saints here. Let's go to Casey.
Well, I think you know how I have to go with this. Even though this is not the Tom of old, this is not the Patriots Tom, so there won't be any cheating to win. I mean, what did I say that? But
I mean, but they are going
still,
against the Saints, so
this is true.
Casey, Casey, you need to be stop so deflating.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll have to watch some tapes. Some. Anyway, what they never there was never any cheating. Guys, stop seriously. But I'm going with Tampa Bay and Tampa Tom for the W. Also, which is there going to be a Nickelodeon game? Because like there needs to be another Nickelodeon game. This
There should
needs to
be,
happen. That
but I don't think so.
I don't know who I need to write to, but I will write many letters.
I
I
would
want more.
Casey. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it in the future though, because it was kind of cool and informative for people who didn't know about football, maybe, or just fun for people watching, just to have a different, you know, type thing. But Adam,
I'm gonna keep my comments to myself on the Nickelodeon broadcast. I don't want to offend anybody, but in this instance,
Well, now I'm curious.
well, I'll tell you later. Um, yeah, a touchback is when the ball goes in the end zone and you get a free 25 yards. Um, Here's the thing. I'll keep it this way. I'll at least put this out there. If the winning coach gets slimed, the losing coach needs to have the porta john bath that Vince and Shane had on Raw when DX jumped him. That's what I want. Um, I think that this is,
And
again,
have it be from
Saints.
Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, I had to go there.
I'm dead. Dead.
Are you alive over there?
Oh fuck. Oh. Again, it's Saints, Breeze Brady 3 in one season, and as much as I would love to have that stat of Breeze being the only quarterback ever to sweep Tom Brady 3 games in the year would be great. That game against the Bears, I think, has finally shown that again. Breeze, I think that he is on his last leg. I mean, he's been trying his damnedest. He started to get that connection again with Michael Thomas. That's going to be very big. And I think it's going to be him and Kamara all game. I want them to see to go to Jared Cook more because I think Jared Cook is massively underrated as a tight end. He is a massive beast. Casey, you need to call Gruden and ask why they got rid of him. Because they could have him and Waller. Just saying. I think I do think Tom prevails in this instance because I mean Tom's Tom. He's starting to get into that groove more with Antonio. Antonio's going to be uh, is going to be motivated. This is really going to come down to if that defensive front, which is very good for the Saints, if Cam Jordan and company, if they can shut down Fournette and Jones, and obviously again, like I do, you stop Brady by getting pressure on him. And I'm just wondering if Arians is going to be a little bit more meticulous on how he goes down the field and not just go pass, streak down, down the field. Um, so yeah, I do think this. I think this will be way better than the Bears game. but I'm going to say Tom prevails.
All right, Justin.
This is going to be a very interesting game here because Saints win. Brady goes 0-3 in one season. The same team. I was watching this person on TikTok. I don't remember who the user was, but he was doing predictions for the playoffs. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be rigged this year," because saying that, "Oh, this could be Drew Brees' final hoorah, his final season. He could be retiring." So they're like, "Oh, we want to send him out with send him out with the Super Bowl." He goes like, "I called it." I don't remember who that guy is. Did you know what I'm talking
I
about?
know who you're talking about, yeah, but I don't know his name either. But
He goes like,
based
"I
off of
called
you
it."
saying that like that, I know who you're talking about.
He goes like, "I called it." Like, dude, I tell you, oh man, I would hate that so much. Hmm, I just feel like I don't know. I feel like the Saints are gonna win here, but in my heart, I want Tampa Tom to win. So I'm gonna go with my heart here, and I'm gonna go with Tampa Tom and the Bucks to win. But in the back of my mind, and thinking with my brain, I feel like the Saints are gonna win there some way. But I'm going with my heart though.
Again, if the Bucks don't win, I'm picking the Saints.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's my new scheme. That's gonna be my new scheme of things. Every single game next year, even the Super Bowl, if
Wait, Justin. Rewind. Did you actually say? And I'm pretty sure you said this. Did you say you think with your brain? Because
I
I mean,
do.
I don't know how else you would think. I mean, I'm not an expert on the whole thinking, but I think that's the only way that you do think. But I don't know. I don't know. Just I point that out.
Uh, um, but
You gotta see, because if you can't see and you don't know what you're looking at.
That's funny.
all right, that'll do it for our divisional round preview. Appreciate everybody for coming by. Of course, like always, you can always like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube if you like. If you prefer one over the other, you can always listen to us on various platforms as well. Google us as usual.
Because we're Googleable.
Exactly. Other than that, we'll see you guys on whatever the next video may be. Definitely hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for everybody for coming by. Until next time.